Hey everybody, it's Andre Shirdan, and today my guest is a good friend, Dayna Johnson, who has helped offices around the country easily transition down the path to paperless. And that's one of my favorite things in the world. Using her years of experience as a dental office manager, certified dentrix trainer, and she is the founder and CEO of Navoni, which is the premier dentrix community. So she's kind of my counterpart, and we've got some chances to kind of hang out together. And it's so good to see you. How's it going?
Thank you for having me on. I'm so excited about this. When you reached out, I was like, oh, this is going to be fun because we're very, similar creatures in the dental industry. So it's fun to chat with you.
Well, this is going to be a lot of fun. And, there's six kind of just rapid questions that I'm going to ask you. And I like to be really casual about everything that I do. So, we're going to go through these questions, and there's obviously no wrong answers because they're yours. So I really want this to be just an easy conversation. How's that sound?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Cool. So I wanted you to think, and everybody, so that I made sure that everybody had the questions ahead of time so they could think it through, and I didn't want anybody to have a deer in the headlights moment. So
yeah.
So your first question is, compare yourself to somebody you were before you hit a fork in the road. And if you want to talk about what the fork is, everybody has the theme of this is everybody's kind of said, I've hit many forks.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about this.
Yeah, there have been several forks in the road. I think, if I want to start from the very beginning, like I kind of fell into dentistry. And that was probably one of my biggest forks in the road. Was I was, like 20 years old. I was in college. I was on the path to like corporate America. I wanted to be a big marketing executive in some big corporation. I was living in the Seattle area and working for a bank up in the Seattle area. And I was interning with their marketing director and going to college. And about 6 months into me working there at the bank and in college, the bank filed bankruptcy. And I was all of a sudden out of a job. And I was already married. I already owned a house. I already had lots of bills. And I was like, I need a job immediately. I need to pay my bills. And I needed a job. And so I dropped out of college and I went to work for my Uncle Dave. And because he had a computer company up in the Bellevue area. So he had a computer company, and we used to install computers, networks, software into medical and dental offices. And so I became his office manager, software support tech, and which is really where I got my love of technology. I used to have these big tables, and I used to actually build computers from scratch, from parts, and put computers together. And so we used to hang cable and put in computers into medical and dental offices. And that was when I was about 22, 23 years old. And then I went to work for my first dental practice. And that was in probably like 92 or so, 92, 93 is when I went to work for my first dental practice. And so that was the fork in the road. I'm a college dropout, and this is where I ended up in my life, was this path to into dentistry. And I went to work for 2 dental practices, and then in my second dental practice, I helped that practice go paperless, transition to new software. And that's really where then I became a certified dentrix trainer, helped offices go paperless. And that's really where my next fork, my next path really took off, was after I worked for my second dental practice and then moved to Colorado.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because your path is very similar to mine. And we've talked about this before, in the love for computers. I mean, I don't know. It's weird because when my kids were young, and my kids are now in their late 20s, early 30s, I taught them how to build computers. And now they're like, well, my iPhone broke. I think I should go buy a screen and nobody thinks like that anymore.
Yeah.
It's just everything's disposable. And it's
No.
really interesting once you start understanding the ins and outs of it and
Oh yeah.
understanding, especially, running cable. It really gives you
Yeah.
appreciation for networking. And
Oh, for sure. I was the techie in my office, so I always teach offices to, nominate a techie in your office, someone that isn't afraid to, crawl around under the desk with a screwdriver and, troubleshoot things along the way. And, because it really helps them understand what all these pieces are. Because, when you are a paperless office, you have so many peripherals and cables and warranties and parts. And if you don't understand how any of these things work together, then it's really hard to really have an appreciation for all this technology that you have in your office.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And understanding the hardware really makes you understand the software too. So
Definitely. Yeah.
so that's a great starting point. So let's talk about question number 2.
Okay.
What book should everyone be reading? And I always say, and the book that everybody should be reading over and over and over again.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably one of the most instrumental books that I've ever read. I read in my early 20s. It was actually required reading for my first dental practice. We were working with a coaching company, and they're like, you need to read this book, The Four Agreements. And ever since I read that book, I live my life by the Four Agreements. Now, I'm not necessarily a spiritual person. I don't go to church. I'm not a religious person. So there are things in the book that, maybe I don't relate to as well, but the Four Agreements are so solid that I would read that book and then read it again. And then I bought like 5 copies of it and gave them out to everybody because I'm like, you need to read this book.
Yeah.
And so that is absolutely my number one, live by those 4 agreements. It's just, I think it's one of the best books.
Super choice. And the one great thing about doing all these is at the end we're going to have like an Oprah book club list of all the books that everybody should be reading, and they should be required reading. And I'm a big proponent, especially where we live at the practice management level. Mm-hmm. I think that there are some CE requirements for the front office, and some of the things are some of the books that we're going to be talking about, and this is actually one of those that every front office person should be reading. So
absolutely.
That's a good one.
And it's such a quick read. You can get through it in just a couple days. I mean, or even one day. It's a very easy book to read, but so powerful.
Yeah, I agree with you. So now question number 2, give me a quote or 2 of one of your favorite quotes. What do you have for us?
Go big or go home, baby. Oh my gosh. I use that quote all the time. And I had to look it up because I'm like, I don't even know who said that. And I think what I found online was this woman named Eliza Dushku. I don't even know who that is. But that's one of the quotes that I live by. I have learned over my life that you have to take risks and you have to learn to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And so, there's so many, Kevin laughs at me all the time because I use that term. I say, go big or go home when we're playing cards or, if I'm taking a risk. And so that's one of those quotes that I kind of comes out of my mouth very frequently.
I love it. That's, and I included that question because quotes, I mean, I've got, pages and pages and pages of quotes that I save because I love them. And some people think they're kind of goofy, but I just love how a short little piece of information inspires us. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. So yeah, that's a good one.
And then another one I live by, and I don't know that it's necessarily a quote, but it's just a mantra that I absolutely live by every single day is tell the truth. It's not that hard.
That's good.
And because, well, that's just it. I mean, yeah, just tell the truth.
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
I love it. And it's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know.
So
Yeah.
here's question number 4.
Okay.
I don't even know where I am. Question
Yeah,
number 4.
okay.
What high-tech thing can't you live with and why? Has to have a battery or a plug.
Oh, okay. All right. That I can't live without. Let's see. That I can't live without.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say like Wi-Fi or internet. But if it has to have a plug.
No, that counts. I mean, that's
Okay.
the technology. It ultimately
Okay.
does have to have a plug or
Yeah, that is true. So I have to have Wi-Fi or connectivity, because that's the only way I stay connected with my family, and my daughter lives in Seattle. I live in Colorado. My mom lives in Arizona, and my sister lives here in Colorado as well. And Kevin's family lives in Oklahoma. So that's how we stay connected, is through the internet and Wi-Fi. And we have to be able to call and share photos, and then I have to stay connected to my clients and my team and everybody. I couldn't live without it.
I love that because, I think you're thinking bigger picture. I mean, some people, I'm sure people will say their phone or their iPad or that kind of stuff, but without the internet, there's no connection to any of that stuff. So, otherwise, I still have a phone on my wall in my kitchen. That's not connected to anything, but think about that.
Oh, wow.
Because I have no phone line, but there was a pad on the wall, so there's a phone still there, but
oh, wow. Yeah,
it's pointless.
We don't have a phone line.
God, I don't know what that thing's still sitting on my wall for, just because I don't want to patch the hole if I take it down.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Okay, so now the flip side of that is what low-tech thing can't you live without? So can't have a plug, can't have a battery.
Okay.
No connectivity.
Well, the first thing I was going to say was a toilet. But then I thought, the one thing that comes with me everywhere is my water bottle. So my water bottle is the one low-tech thing that I cannot live without. It goes everywhere with me.
That's good. I like that. Yeah. And for me, it's after this, it's the bathroom, because I'm in an airport every day. So
I know.
That's
exactly.
I can tell every airport by where the bathrooms are, It's like, and O'Hare is the worst. So.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's so true.
I love it. Okay, that you won a point there for me in that one. Okay, so now question number 6. It goes back to the beginning, which is go back to the Dayna at any of the forks in the road and whisper in her ear. Give her some advice about where you're going. What would you say?
Yeah, I think kind of what I said a few minutes ago is get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because that's when you're growing. And also, be you. I have really learned that I don't do a lot of things for appreciation from other people. Like, I do things because they mean something to me, and not because I'm in society, I'm supposed to do it that way, And so what I've really learned is to honor myself and get really uncomfortable with some of the decisions that I make, because then I know that I'm doing something worthwhile, and that it's going to be worth it. And I've really learned that to do everything with love, and not because I have to, but because I love doing it. And I love everything I do. Every day I wake up and I've got something different on my schedule that I love doing. I don't do it because I have to. I do it because I love doing it. Yeah. So I think that's what I would tell my future or my past self is to be who you are, and don't be afraid of what people think of you. And I'm a little bit spontaneous sometimes, and I can say things that might not be, as PC as they should be, but that's who I am. And I think people love me for who I am. And
well, you know what I would whisper to you? Buy real estate in Bellevue.
for sure. Yeah.
Oh boy, it's ridiculous up there. Well, that's a good one.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
here's a question that I didn't prepare you for, but it's an easy one. Okay.
Okay. Yep.
Dayna is who she is today because of hard work or luck?
Hard work, for sure. I have had some people in my life who I appreciate so much, that opened doors for me. And I tell them all the time, if you have people in your life that open doors for you, please make sure that you tell them. I share with the people that open doors for me, and I tell them I wouldn't be where I am today without you. And they're like, no, we just opened the door for you, but you kicked it open and you did all the hard work. And so make sure that you let people know if they opened a door for you, let them know how important they are to you. And because I do that several times a year, I reach out to these people that helped me along the way. And but it was a lot of hard work. I work hard. In fact, I won't say, or one of mine and Kevin's mantras is work hard, play hard, or work hard, play harder. And because we both work really hard so we can play hard, and we love life.
That's it. Well, I'm glad we got a chance to do this because, when I originally came up with the idea of doing this, I was like, okay, here's my short list. And, obviously you're on my short list. So I'm glad we got a chance to do this.
Thank you so much. Yeah, this was a blast. I love talking about our stories. It's it means a lot.
Well, I'm glad you got a chance to do it too. Thanks again, and tell Kevin I said hi.
I will, for sure. I'll see you soon.
Bye-bye now.